What's going on today, guys? Welcome back to another music production stream. I'm your host, BusyWorks Beats. Apple Vision Pro impressions. Okay, check this out. Does he actually have one? Wait, hold on. Does he? Ah, dude, I don't think he has one. Is it? It's not out yet, is it? Okay, I'm not as hyped about this video. I thought he actually might have one. Not till Q1 2024. Okay, man, I was hoping he actually had one. Okay, that kind of like really lowers it for me a bit. We'll see how we feel about the video. Okay, let's go.
I've used the new Apple Vision Pro.
Okay, he's actually used it. He says
about a 30-minute demo just using this new headset. I had about 1 trillion questions, so I tried to ask as many of them as I possibly could of Apple to get all the answers I could for you and for myself. So without any further ado, let's just jump right in. This is everything you need to know so far. So the first question, naturally, what is it? So first things first, this is a first generation device from Apple, which we don't see very often, but it is an augmented reality.
What are your guys' thoughts on the Vision Pro? I just think it looks really stupid. I mean, like, it's really just like living with like what Iron Man can do, but you have to wear some stupid goggles. So it's like almost a really cool idea. It's gonna be good. Augment these nuts. All right.
/ virtual reality headset with a bunch.
Can't wait for the Apple snorkel. Yeah, it really looks like a scuba headset.
Bunch of cameras and sensors inside that you strap to your face. It'll start at $3,500 and it'll go on sale starting sometime early next year. Nobody's been able to shoot video of using it yet, so I'm gonna have to do my best with descriptions here, but fundamentally...
Dude, they're shooting video of it right there. What happened to these people? Are they like in the dungeon now, or what's going on?
This isn't something that's paired to your iPhone.
Also, you can just watch TV laying on your back, make your ceiling a TV. Dude, that's gonna be fuck though, because people are gonna be falling asleep with it on. It's gonna be terrible. I mean, it's gonna be cool on one hand, and it's gonna be terrible.
Or your Mac by default.
I feel like this is gonna be the first step towards that, like, that future, that dystopian future where people are just like sitting in their chair all day. They have like, their legs are all, what do you call it? Their legs are all withered away. Their arms are all withered away. And they just have like a feeding tube. And then probably like one of those like things, the things that like jerk you off. Like we're just gonna be like, we're basically just gonna be like in the Matrix, like, but by our own volition. Matrix, but more shit. Are you talking about the Matrix? No, I'm not talking about the Matrix. In the Matrix. Although, wait, hold on. Matrix, what do you call, what would I look up? Human battery? Hold on. I mean, it is kind of similar, yeah. But I mean, I'm talking about like on our own volition, essentially. Like, I'm not talking about quite to that level yet, where robots have just strapped us down and made us their batteries. The WALL-E universe? I actually have never seen WALL-E. There's a bunch of movies I haven't seen.
Chip inside, its own Wi-Fi connection, roughly 4K
Wait, what did you say? This has M2?
With an M2 chip inside.
Holy shit.
Its own Wi-Fi.
Well, that explains why it's so expensive, right?
Connection.
Well, partially.
Roughly 4K micro OLED display for each eye, a set of speakers right above each ear on the band, and then a dedicated new R1 chip, which is doing all of the real-time processing from all the sensors that make this headset pretty special, but we'll get to that in a second. So all right then, how does it work? Well, basically, we've seen VR headsets and AR headsets before. It's typically there's screens on the inside, and then on the outside there's some sort of shell which has some sensors on the outside.
What is that shirt he had? I thought it was like an EQ shirt for a second. What is that?
Screens on the inside, and then on the outside there's some sort of shell which has some sensors on the outside that help detect what is in your room around you and help to see the controllers in your hands. But with this one, there are no controllers at all. They're not making any for it. There aren't going to be an optional accessory. They're not even going to design any controllers.
You use it with your fingers, right?
You are controlling this thing entirely with your hands and your eyes and your voice.
That sounds kind of interesting though.
So you put this headset on and basically all over.
Everyone just looks so insane wearing these.
Headset, there are an absolute ton of sensors.
It's gotta be waterproof, right?
You have 2 main forward-facing cameras, 2 downward-facing cameras.
Dude, holy sh!
2 more cameras for the sides, 2 infrared illuminators, a LiDAR scanner, a true depth camera. These are all to keep track of what's happening around the headset and also to track your hands in front of your face. And then on the inside, there's also a bunch of infrared illuminators and infrared cameras that are purely there, just there, to track your eyes. So there's actually a setup process. Before you even get the headset, you basically measure, you sort of scan your...
I mean, I'm sure it's probably safe, but this, I mean, when you listen to this, it just sounds like Cancer City. It sounds like you're gonna get brain cancer within the year using this. Can you run Hub on it? Probably. Elon's neural implant will put this thing to shame. Facts. Elon's neural implant is like a fucking death trap. Elon neural implant death. All right, let's see. How many animals die with Neuralink? It has killed 1,000 animals.
Based with the true depth camera on the
I don't know out of how many, but
iPhone, and it uses that depth information about your face to give you a sort of a custom cutout. This will be a process that you can do in Apple stores. But basically, you get the headset with the custom cutout for your face. If you have glasses, there are some Zeiss lenses, but you finally get the headset out and you put it on, and there's some nice meshing on the back, some fabric that stretches and is pretty breathable. It's built extremely well.
Dude, this, oh man.
With all this metal and glass. And
she looks so lobotomized. It's crazy. She just
get it going. The most impressive thing about this headset, the most impressive thing, is the eye tracking. I'm not even kidding. This eye tracking is sick. So basically, the eye tracking in this headset, as it looks at your eyes and keeps track of where your eyes move around, is the closest thing that I've experienced to like magic. Like I normally don't call tech things.
Oh my god, we have Marcus Brownlee saying magic. Holy shit.
Sort of magical.
What happens when it overheats and melts your brain? I don't think it overheat.
Or surreal like this. But
from what I know, like the M chips are like pretty like efficient, I think.
This was
Stephen Hawking's really pissed off right now. Yeah, he would be rolling around in his grave. I don't think he can though.
Even for a pre-release product, kind of unbelievable how well it does.
He wants to roll around in his grave. I feel like this would have just done the same risk of VR headset does, visual eye tracking DAW, and then we get an arrangement view. Making music in this would probably be pretty crazy.
Anytime you move your eyes around the UI, it would immediately highlight and select.
I mean, if you're like a genius, you could probably work so fast with this thing. Imagine running Logic on this. He punching his coffin right now. I don't think he's doing that either. I don't think he can move his hands or arms, right?
Exactly what you're looking at, no matter how small the target was or what you're looking at. And then when you want to select something, all you do is take your fingers like this and just touch them together. That's how you click. So you look at something, click. Look at something, click. So
that's actually dope.
Actually, there's a calibration process.
He's furiously rolling his eyes. Imagine ordering DoorDash with these.
Process when you first set up the headset, you put it on for the first time, where you basically just look around with your eyes at a bunch of different dots, so it learns your eyes. And then yeah, from that point on, you're just cruising, you're sailing through everything by just looking at things. And it feels like telepathic. You just look at something and select it.
This sounds kind of cool the more I'm hearing about it. Imagine downloading a virtual keyboard with the headset. Imagine running Max for Live with this. Oh mama. Imagine using the Push 3 standalone with this. Oh wait, never mind.
And that's it. So this is how the whole UI works. Pretty much.
Oh man, dude, his eyes look crazy. So like it like projects eyes, right? So that's what someone told me in the comments today. Yeah, his looks way off.
Every other headset had.
Imagine scalping Push 3s with these. Hey, I did not scalp that thing, okay? I bought it for myself and it happened to sell out afterwards, okay? And then I sold it for more because I wasn't sure if I wanted it. That's not called scalping. That's called reselling something because you're not sure if you want it. Shut up. If I have a house party, can I make it look like there are people there? No. Wait, what if you have a lazy eye? I think if you don't have a lazy eye, it'll make you look like you have a lazy eye. And if you have a lazy eye, it might look normal. He takes out the goggles, but his eyes don't change. Don't judge a book by its cover. That'd be crazy. He takes it off and it's just like, oh wait, never mind. That was accurate.
Has the ability to use your hands to select things, but most of them.
Part of me does kind of regret selling the Push 3 though, because like using standalone is kind of cool in the sense that even though it is Ableton still, it feels different than working on the computer with Ableton. It feels more limited, but it feels like the workflow makes you work differently. So like you might make things differently than you would otherwise. Like I'm limited. I can't use Infiltrator, so like I'm limited to like using just samples and whatnot. So I don't know. It was kind of cool on one hand. Like so I'm like still considering buying another one when they restock, but I don't know. Blind people rolling in their non-VR graves. Invest in Pornhub now before their stock goes up.
Rely on the sensors on the outside to keep track of a set of controllers for maximum accuracy. But this massive array of sensors on the outside of Apple's headset have done an impressively good job of picking up what my hand is doing, kind of no matter where it is. So like,
it looks crazy. The eyes look crazy from the outside every time.
Like I said, there's sensors all the way around the thing. They're facing forward, but they're facing side.
It's funny because like in the thumbnail here, it actually looks better than it does in real life when other people do it. And this is Photoshop, right? So usually Photoshop, you can't, I mean, I guess you can do pretty good stuff with Photoshop now, but it's just crazy how bad it looks in real life.
Ways and facing down. So I could just kind of rest my hand like wherever and look at stuff and click. I don't even have to move my head. I can just look at something and just click my fingers. I kind of did it by accident a few times. Like I'd just sort of be sitting there and my fingertips would actually touch and I'd select whatever I was looking at. But pretty quickly you get used to just just this, just doing this. Now there are also some text boxes. Occasionally you want to type something, and so you can look at the text box, select it, and then a keyboard will pop up and you can look at the letters, but also you can just look at a search box field and just start talking and it'll start filling in whatever you're saying because there's microphones on the headset.
It's pretty crazy. So you look at the search box before saying what you want to put in it. Can you wear glasses with this? I think he said something about it earlier. Like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think you can get lenses or something that are adjust to your eyes that you put inside of it. I think something like that.
And there's also something there.
I'll admit her eyes were a bit better than the last guy, Drew. That other guy, yeah, there was something going on there. He said something about a special lens, yeah.
Calling Optic ID.
Yeah, it's not your actual eyes. But everything since the mouse and the touchscreen is a gimmick.
Which is basically
I mean, this is kind of a gimmick, but it also seems kind of cool. I don't know. I guess you'd have to see how it is like when you actually use it. Because the way he describes it sounds pretty awesome. Can it bring me joy from eternal suffering? Debatable.
Kind of just the fingerprint ID of the headset because it's looking at your eyes and everyone's eyes is a different unique biometric pattern, and so you log in just by putting the headset on and it looks at your eyes. So Optic ID, this thing knows your eyes really well. So then you've probably seen all these weird looking frames where you can see people's eyes through it. Like this super weird thing that I've never seen in any other.
Dude, it's hilarious. You know, lobotomy for your eyes to look good? Maybe. I just don't understand who would use these. Probably people with a lot of money. Black Mirror episode looking fire. Yeah, we're heading towards the Black Mirror episode for sure. What if you don't have eyes? Yeah, this isn't for you then.
So what is happening here? Well, spoiler alert, it's not actually transparent. It kind of looks like it's a glass transparent thing, but it's not. It appears.
Dude, so you know what's hilarious about this? This is equivalent to having like eyeballs tattooed on your eyelids. So you can like totally just be sleeping and then have it like look like you're still there.
Because there's actually an OLED screen facing out. This is what I would call a two-way pass-through. That's what I'm calling it. See, a normal VR headset we've seen is of course completely opaque. Usually it's like black plastic or something like that. So in order to see through to your actual environment without taking the headset off, like for picking up your controllers or walking around a room without hitting a...
Now that's a meme right there. Marcus and Mark. So if you don't have hands, you can't use this either. Guess not. They will probably make an app for blind people to help them navigate. I don't know how they will though, because it uses your eyes. This is what they're going to market as a common product from this time period in the future.
Wall. They have a pass-through mode. So it'll turn on a camera on the outside so you can see what's going on around you. And some pass-through modes are better than others. Some will do it from a single black and white camera. Some will do stereo pass-through from 2 cameras. Some will do color pass-through. The pass-through on Apple's headset is, again, the best I've ever seen in a headset. It's stereo, it's color, it's sharp, it's real-time. It's really good. So then the eyes you see from the outside are actually an OLED display showing what your eyes look like to the cameras inside the headset.
Wait, so it's not generating it. It has a camera that looks at it. So we are seeing people's eyes. It's just replicating it fucked up? Or these are people's eyes? I don't know.
So it shows your eyes.
It's fake eyes?
Like this whenever you're using any sort of pass-through mode.
Well, I mean, he said they're real. Like, it's like a camera that, like, what the camera sees when it looks at your eyes. It projects your eyes onto the screen.
If you can see your environment, it'll show your eyes. So you're not actually, like,
Oh, okay. So if you do close your eyes, it will show them closed. So it's not quite eyeballs tattooed on your eyelids.
Looking at someone's eyes, but it kind of feels like you are. Kind of creepy a little bit. I don't know. It's the simplest way of explaining it. If they're doing something fully immersive in VR, like watching a movie or playing a game, then it won't show their eyes.
Oh.
It'll show this graph.
See, it actually looks cooler when you can't see the eyes, I feel like. Man, I still use Windows 95 and a pager. What do I know? Real eyes, movie. I feel bad for making fun of that guy's eyes then. It's not that creepy. It's antisocial.
Graphic over their eyes instead. It's a really interesting look. It's a bold look. I just have this like thought of like you're on a airplane and the flight attendant walks up and taps you, hey, do you want any water? And you just look up and your eyes shine through the headset. It's just a weird thing. I don't think it's smart, but I don't think other headsets are going to do it because most of them don't have it in the budget to have a screen facing the outside. But then let's get to the burning question you've probably already been thinking. What?
That's crazy how much it does in such a small scuba gear package.
Actually do. So, okay, I'm separating this into 3 bulk categories that I made up, and I'm kind of proud of.
I mean, when you think about all this thing does, this is actually not that, I mean, it's expensive, but I mean, for what all of it that it does, that's pretty insane. It's a computer, it's eye tracked, it has cameras that show your eyes, what your eyes look like, and then it has a screen that shows your eyes. It has like a bunch of cameras to track your eyeball movement. It's actually pretty crazy for $3,500. I hope there's a Homer Simpson fake glasses mod
of here, which are computing, content, and
reminds me of the Bruce Willis movie Surrogates. 20 years later, this just in, Apple goggles make you blind. I mean, how much time have they had to research these, right? So, I mean, I don't know for sure, but maybe.
And connections. Now,
Apple will use it to force Atmos even more. Oh, God.
Actually, I should preface this all by saying this is a first-gen product, so right now the only apps that show up on the home screen are Apple's apps. Just like when the first iPhone came out with no app store, it's just Apple's apps. But the reason this is coming out, or at least getting announced so early, but it's not coming out till next year, is to give this window for developers to start developing their own apps and making cool things for this headset to do that are way more.
What if tons of people develop stuff for it, but no one buys it? I think people will buy it though, especially with like stuff like this coming out. I don't know. Like this video is actually making it sound more intriguing than I thought it was.
More interesting and way more functional, but it does have a core set of functions. So for computing, I think this is the one that's probably the least likely to be used by most normal people, but it is a pretty direct shot at what Meta just did with the Quest Pro, the $1,500 Quest Pro. So you can use this thing as its own computer with web browsing, etc., with these 4K windows in front of you that you can move around and do all kinds of stuff with your hands. Now, this will be its own OS. Again, it's not running off.
Wait, you kept multiple screens like that, though? That's kind of fire.
Off your phone or anything. It's running a whole new operating system called Vision OS.
That's kind of crazy, though. You can have a bunch of windows open, so it's like you can have not unlimited screens, but you can have quite a few. You're not limited by the amount of display monitors that you have.
And it seems pretty similar to iPad OS, just in the fact that, you know, you're just touching things in iPad.
Who says that? Sushi lunch today? You see that right here? Sushi lunch today? What the fuck? I feel like you would just say sushi. Sushi? Do you want to get sushi? Like, who says sushi lunch today? Wait, what does the other one say? This looks amazing, Jasif. Thanks for turning it around. Any word back on the latest designs? Dude, these are so... Could they have, like, made these any more fake sounding?
OS, and in this headset, you look at something and then you touch your fingers together, and that's basically just like a...
Don't eat me, I'm not edible. Apple's gonna teabag Meta this decade. Maybe. Probably, yeah. This will only be used for cybersex, maybe. I want sushi lunch, me too.
But I was really impressed with the responsiveness. Again, this was better than any headset I've seen with just your hands. If I wanted to scroll through something like a Safari window, I literally, in air, would touch my fingers together and drag...
You can like have your hand way down here too. Like it doesn't have to be up here or anything. It's just like...
the window, and it would scroll nearly in real time. I would like throw it around, like toss it, catch it, toss it the other way, and start scrolling through things with my finger, resizing windows, dragging the corners of things, and I was super impressed with that too. Now, if you're like me, you might have also had some questions about the sharpness, like do I really want to wear something like this for a long time to work like it's on a computer? And I think that was also pretty smartly addressed. They use a selective rendering based on the super good eye tracking. So the computing power is basically focusing on sharply rendering the part of the screen that you're actually looking at while saving power on the rest. It's pretty cool, and it works so quickly that I did not know.
Wait.
While saving power on the rest.
Holy shit, they're listening to Yeji. I know her.
And it works so quickly that I did not notice it while using it. And then the part you're looking at is actually very sharp. Like I said before, they're super high resolution screens, they're 4K. I don't know if I have a number for refresh rate, but
every time you beat it, we'll think you're clicking everything. Okay, that's kind of funny. Just when wearing earphones is normal, now people will be walking around with scuba goggles. True, but I think it's easy to get stuck in a rut when you're trying to work on your bed. Imagine walking into Apple and everyone is wearing this, touch thin air. Weird, true.
Felt like 120 hertz, and you know, eye fatigue will eventually become a thing with any headset you strap to your face, but this would be on the lower level of eye fatigue compared to what I've experienced with some others. And then for even more heavy work, this is kind of nuts, but they showed it in the keynote. Apparently, if you have a Mac and you want to do Mac OS stuff, you can just, with the headset on, just look at your Mac, and it will pick up what you're doing, and it'll mirror the Mac's display as one of the 4K windows for you.
Whoa, that's actually kind of crazy. Ah, man. No, don't tell me this, man. I don't have any Mac computers that aren't like 15 years old at this point.
Even connect a Bluetooth keyboard and a Bluetooth trackpad and start working around like it's...
That's kind of sick.
An actual Mac, just with a bigger screen wherever you want. Yeah, ecosystem stuff.
That's crazy, dude.
So that's computing. I definitely got to try it. But then, of course, there's the...
So you can just mirror whatever's on your computer and start working on that inside the headset.
the connection stuff. You got messaging. You can type out messages to people just like as if you were on a Mac. But there's also, impressively, FaceTime. Now, I don't even know that this is necessarily better than a normal FaceTime holding your phone or like on a laptop, other than the fact that
I need to know what they see.
you don't have to be holding anything. But you can have people's
I need to know what they see. Wait, they're on a group FaceTime right now? That's actually pretty badass.
windows floating in front of you as you talk to them on FaceTime. But you might also be asking, wait a second, if I'm not holding my phone in front of me, what do other people on FaceTime see?
It's gotta be like AI generated, right? Bought a MacBook Pro and returned it last week. Imagine having session and arrangement view in front of your eyes and being able, you can have multiple DAWs open at once. They 100% just see a close up of their messed up eyes. Nah, I think it's like an AI generated thing.
Well, the answer is they'll see a 3D rendered model of you that was scanned into the system from your iPhone that syncs up and matches the movements of your face.
Wait, what is that?
And into the system from your iPhone.
How far off is that?
That syncs up.
I mean, that's not that bad.
And matches the movements of your face.
It is it's very smooth looking though.
With eye tracking and all the other sensors of the headset. So I got to try it.
That's pretty creepy, man.
It works, okay.
If it's AI generated, better stuff fucked up hands. I wish, man.
So it's not as good as obviously looking at a person. I just feel like a FaceTime, you're trying to have like a personal connection with the person. And this is obviously more personal than an avatar or like a cartoon of you, but it feels kind of somewhere in between. It's kind of like a Google Project Starline, which I just did that video about
Don't know what that is.
couple weeks ago. If you haven't already seen that, I'll leave a link with a like
super dystopian though
button so you can check it out. But it feels sort of in that like uncanny valley, moving 3D model territory instead of looking at an actual person. It's kind of how I picture it. But then last but not least, of course, content. People are just gonna watch content on
right. Content, you know what I mean? We're gonna watch some content.
This thing. And I think this is the industry, now that Apple's jumping into it, that is poised to explode. Like, we've had VR games and VR videos for a long time, and Apple is now also able to do this. They, of course, put their own spin on it, and they can use the power and the draw of the Apple brand to get content creators and big motion picture studios and sports leagues and all kinds of creatives to work to make content that looks really good, specifically on Apple's headset and in Apple's format.
What? What am I seeing right now?
I can personally say from my demo, hell yes, I would pay to watch an NBA game courtside in the VR headset.
Oh, shit. Okay. Wait, that's kind of cool. The Left Crew are going to be all over this. Content more addicted than heroin. That's why Apple blocked ad tracking. They're coming out with their own ad network. This is kind of scary. TBH, yeah. If they had released this during the pandemic lockdown, they would have made billions. I want to watch football and that. Bro, if other people can see the from outside the mask, that's rip. I don't think they can. If you can customize your avatar, the Catfish game going to be lit. Maybe, but it sounds like it has to scan your face.
Is good enough.
So you'd have to like scan the person you want to be, I think, unless there's a way to hack it or something.
And obviously it's not going to be as immersive as feeling the energy from the crowd, but you're not paying courtside prices. You'd probably pay, this is a total guess, 10, 20 bucks to watch an NBA game courtside or have some subscription to do that. I would totally do that, and it would be fun. But even with regular 2D content like movies...
Quit giving them ideas, man. Quit giving them ideas. Instead of this whole dumb fucking Google goggle wave of products, can we just get 3D projectors so you can see stuff in front of you and have it eye tracked and no goggles? I feel like, I don't know, we've seen this hologram thing before, but it was like totally fake.
Just watching a regular movie, you can totally just sit back, put the headset on, maybe even put some headphones on, and just like on a plane seat, just watch a movie as if you're in a theater for one, which is pretty sweet. There is that digital crown on the side that actually lets you spin it clockwise to move in more immersion and fully envelop you in the VR environment.
What?
Or you can turn it counterclockwise to bring in more of your real world environment.
Oh shit.
With
dude, that's kind of crazy.
Pass through in your peripheral vision. Kind of a neat.
Oh, that's kind of sick. That is pretty futuristic. Hear me out. Are we getting closer to seeing a football player POV instead of just watching the entire game? Can't watch the Trump trial from inside the courthouse. That's funny. Apple microtransactions for customizing your VR avatar.
Also this kind of weird feature where you can take 3D photos and videos.
NFTs might come back again for this.
With the cameras built into the headset itself. And I did not like this.
Wait, what?
With the cameras built into the headset, take 3D photos and videos with the cameras built into the headset itself. and I did not like this one. So there was a demo of like a recording from a headset camera of a kid blowing out some candles on a birthday cake, basically. And I got to watch this actual scene in the actual Apple headset. So because there's two cameras like front facing, they can record stereoscopic 3D. So you can turn on the recording and in that moment sit down and record a super immersive video, and then when you watch it back in the headset, it's like you're reliving this moment in 3D.
Well, that's kind of freaky.
Which can feel kind of cool, but I can't get the image of like the dad at the birthday party with the headset on just recording things, like walking around. It just doesn't... what kind of memory is that for the other people?
It's really dystopian
around you, you know? Like I saw this and I immediately
you can record memories.
Thought back to the reasons we all know why Google Glass failed, which is it was ahead of its time, but it's also like you're walking around with a camera on your face and everybody knows that you have a camera on your face. It just wasn't cool.
Dude, he's smiling. Smiling while doing that is like so odd.
Dad, what are you doing? Why are your eyes sticking out through the headset? So, all right, the number one question I've got, and after I've actually tried this thing, is it...
If you wear this in public, someone will snatch it right off your face and run, probably. But at least you'll be able to see through, so you can maybe see who did it.
Any good?
Maybe. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. Can't wait for the monthly heated headband subscriptions, so you can block people IRL. That's funny.
Is this headset any good? And the answer is...
Yeah, he's way too excited to use that. Yeah, for real.
Well, yeah, some of the parts of this headset that I tried are actually the best I have ever seen in any VR headset by a mile, specifically the eye tracking and the hand tracking. Now, of course, it's going to be up to developers to really make it good, but I think the foundational, like, how do you use it part is pretty amazing.
What
but that doesn't mean...
That's crazy how it just has the football player on the side there. Like, it's totally unnecessary, but it's cool.
And there aren't any downsides. All right. Number one, there was no haptics, of course, because you don't...
This really seems like sensory overload, though.
Controllers. You're just doing everything with your hands in the air. There's no way to have any sort of haptic feedback. There was a demo that I did where, like, I stuck my hand out. A wall on the other side of the room opened up, and a dinosaur was back there, and a butterfly flew out. I held out my hand... and the butterfly flew up and landed on my finger. It could
what the fuck, dude?
Track and see all of that information, and the volumetric, all the computation to make that happen was amazing. But when the butterfly landed and I didn't feel anything, there was that moment of like, oh, right, this is a VR headset. But then number two, this was interesting. This is pretty heavy. This is a pretty heavy VR headset. Kind of the same way that...
yeah, it has to be like at least like 5 pounds or something.
AirPods Max, the Apple's metal headphones are heavier than most plastic headphones. There's a reason why most other VR headsets are just plastic. It's not because that's cheap. It's because it's lightweight. It's fatiguing to have a heavy thing on your head. And this is a headset made of metal and glass. It's heavy.
I mean, dude, it needs to be made of metal and glass. It's fucking, it's got a computer in it.
Now, it is also super well built.
Like a high-powered computer.
Like, there is no arguing that. But I do wonder about using it for longer than the half hour that I did. I wonder if it would be more fatiguing to my head. That's also actually why the battery isn't attached to it. That would be a ton of weight to carry on your head, so they connected the battery instead through a proprietary cable, and that actually can sit next to you on the couch or in your back pocket. And that brings us to the other thing, the battery life. 2 hours. 2-hour battery life.
Same as the Push. Interesting.
On the headset. Which is not that great. It's not that long. Now, there's a USB-C port on the battery bank, and you can plug that into the wall for infinite time. But the second you unplug from the wall, yeah, 2 hours from that pretty hefty battery bank, which is like, okay, maybe most people won't be spending a lot of time in the headset, but you did also just...
You can't even watch a full Marvel movie with that.
Show us, Apple, an ad of people like watching a movie in the headset. That's already, like, most movies are 2 hours plus. Yeah. So something worth thinking about. Just a 2 hour... I'm sure people will make bigger external batteries for this thing, but 2 hours. And then also, I couldn't get a firm answer.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like the extended one with like a bigger battery. It's just going to go over your head. So you're just going to have this giant battery on your head. Can't even watch my favorite movie in its entirety. I'm out. Can't even watch the whole football game. But is it MPE?
Here on if there are fans inside.
Yeah, 2 hours, man. You should lead with that.
Or not, but... I think there's fans. Like, there's certainly vents for fans anyway. And if you're gaming for long enough or using it for long enough, do those spin up? Do they ever get loud? Do they ever kill your battery? That's kind of unclear. But then, of course, the main...
Dude, if you're gaming or something, this thing is going to last like an hour.
Thing that everybody's talking about, it's expensive. It's $3,000.
I mean, am I the only one that thinks that's like kind of an appropriate price for this? Like, how much is an M2 Mac? It's at least like 1,500 or 2,000, right? M2 Mac. Wait, let's look this up real quick. How much does this cost? Yeah, it's like 1,200, 1,500. This is just for like a laptop, like the entry level laptop. Like it's at the bare minimum 1,000. So like, I mean, I feel like it kind of makes sense. I'm not trying to defend Apple here.
$500. So is that pricey? Yeah. That's very expensive.
I mean, it does make sense that it would only last 2 hours too, though, because like, I mean, think about how many cameras it has to run in it and screens, and it's a computer.
But this is the thing that is always weird with Apple products. Like, there is no direct comp. Like you always say it's expensive, but like compared to what? And they did this with the Pro Display XDR. They've done this with even AirPods Max a little bit.
I bought my 22 MacBook Pro 16-inch and it was 4,300. 3,500 for 2 hours. Fuck out of here. Yeah, I think that's the biggest con really is like the battery life.
But like there are several.
And rest, I don't think it has to charge for 22 hours.
This headset does.
They didn't say how long.
No other headset does. The eye tracking, the hand tracking, that's super good. Even if an equivalent headset came along today and did all of the same stuff that this does, hardware and software-wise, it still wouldn't have FaceTime. It still wouldn't have like looking at a Mac and then the ecosystem allowing the Mac's display to pop up. So this is kind of something that only Apple could pull off. So bottom line, you know, I got to try it. I thought it was extremely impressive, but at the end of the day, this is not a product for the masses. I mean, obviously, right? It's $3,500. It has the word Pro in the name too. But this feels like the series.
Well, if it has the word Pro in the name, I don't think, guys, it's not for us, man. It has the word Pro in the name.
Zero, like the Apple Watch. Remember when the Apple Watch first came out, the Series Zero, where it's really going to be up to the first gen, the early adopters, and the developers to decide the direction that this thing goes, to decide what people actually want to use it for. And that'll shape the future versions of it that we may eventually get down the road. Then maybe someday there's like a Vision SE that's like $400 that the masses will all adopt.
$400, dude. I feel like by that time, inflation is gonna like push it up to like 1,000. I'm gonna add Pro to my name.
Then it'll be this next generation hit product, maybe. But as of right now, this is very much in the sort of early adopter, people like me, people like watching this video testing phase to figure it out. So that's the Apple Vision Pro.
I mean, I would maybe consider getting one of these if I had more Mac or more Apple products. I have like none though. So like, I mean, some of the coolest features I wouldn't even like be able to make use of.
It's the rich person's toy and the developer's muse for right now, but we'll see how far this thing goes in the near future. It's coming out next year. It's not that far off.
I mean, I think this could be big eventually. Like, I think like it's probably going to be the start of something big.
It's not that far away.
Like it's like one of those things in the future that people expect to exist, you know?
It's really interesting times. Either way, this was also part of a huge entire WWDC.
Like I feel like Google Glass, like I don't think was anywhere as functional as this was, right? Like I mean, none of them are practical, obviously, but rich person's toy, yeah. Marry Marcus and take half of the headset.
See keynote. So if you want to watch my recap of the rest,
400 but has ads like Spotify free. 50 years down the line, they're going to be pushing ads on these goggles. True. I know this dude who made Google Glass's entire personality for 5 years. That's crazy. I didn't know that person existed.
So that stuff, ideally get subscribed because there's going to be a video recap of the biggest announcements, of which there are many other things. And also, I'll shout out the Waveform podcast to get subscribed there too, because the next episode, I'll just say it, it's a banger. It's pretty sick. So
that was a pretty good video.
Hit sub, hit like, hang out in the comments. That's been it for this one. Thanks for watching.
I do think this will be the future, but near future, I don't know. Like, I think at this point, like it is going to be a cool rich person's toy, but I don't see like the regular person picking this up. It may actually be pretty dope though. Like, it may be pretty dope to like produce in this, maybe edit in this, whatever. I don't know if it'll be more optimized than working on a computer though, but maybe. I feel like it could maybe, like, the way I could see this being faster is that since you use your eyes to look around and select what you're working on, if you can just like look, select, like you could probably do that faster than you can move your mouse around, right? Because your eyes are faster than moving a mouse. I think, at least. I don't know. Maybe they're about the same. What do you guys think? I don't think it's gonna be a hit either, but I think it may lead to like some like crazy technology in the future, some crazier technology. With a sub pack in your teenage engineering desk, you're never getting that sub pack, dude. You're never getting that sub pack, that new sub pack. Imagine wearing this with the Dyson Bane headphones. Holy shit. I got to see what that looks like photoshopped on somebody. I think by the time the third or fourth version comes out, it'll be awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think this is like an early thing that will be insane down the road. Like, it's already kind of insane, but it'll be really insane like 10 years from now, maybe 5 years from now. Tan lines from those are going to be fire. True. He's always honest about reviews. I want it to be like the Nintendo Switch so I could take off one eye and give it to the homie to see these vids. I feel like it's odd to compare this to Google Glass. That was a bit ahead of its time, to be fair. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know enough about Google Glass to make that comparison, but I don't think Google Glass is anywhere as immersive as this or functional, just from my limited knowledge about it.
The Band Incorporated.